It's not every day that the entire Senate is asked to attend a briefing on matters of national security, which underscores the urgency by which the Trump administration is treating the threat posed by Pyongyang's continued saber-rattling and threats of more nuclear tests. That briefing taking place at the White House tomorrow. All this as the USS Michigan, which can carry up to 154 Tomahawk missiles, pulling into a South Korean port as we got word of North Korea's conducting live fire drills. The submarine will soon join the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier strike group for exercises in the Sea of Japan. Senator Lindsey Graham will be one of the lawmakers at tomorrow's briefing. He believes the U.S. must be prepared to launch a preemptive strike against the community north as the last resort. He met with the President Trump last night and had this to say this morning on America's Newsroom. Watch.
I had dinner with the President last night. It was a great dinner. I really am impressed with his commander-in-chief skills here. He is not going to let this nut job in North Korea develop a missile with a nuclear weapon on top to hit America. He doesn't want a war any more than I do, but he's not going to let them get a missile. That's where they're headed, and China needs to up their game to stop this before it's too late.
Ambassador, there's really no better expert than you on the couch today. Can you just react to what Lindsey Graham just said?
Well, I think he's exactly right. And I think one of the reasons it's so important that President Trump is having all the 100 senators to the White House is after 8 years of Barack Obama not talking about the threat of North Korea, I think it's important that the president have his top military and intelligence advisors lay out what they know about North Korea's capabilities. Because if military action has to be taken, everybody ought to know just how serious this threat is. And I would underline, it's not simply what North Korea can do or what we expect they will be able to do in a very short time, which is miniaturize a nuclear weapon, put it on the top of an ICBM, and hit targets in the United States. Whatever North Korea can do, Iran, because of its close relationship with North Korea, can do the next day through a wire transfer. So we could talk a lot at some point about the Iran nuclear deal. The problem right now, the tip of the spear, is North Korea and its capabilities, but they can be shared with anybody, which is why this is such a serious moment.
You know, the second question I have for you is, it seems like things have escalated in the first 80 days of Trump's presidency. And is it surprising to you that this era of patience, as our vice president said, has come to an end? And why now? Why are things escalating the way they are right now?
Well, I think again, the administration is exactly correct to reject what the Obama administration called strategic patience with North Korea, which is a synonym for doing nothing. Indeed, at the end of the Obama administration, there's widespread consensus that North Korea was very close to getting the ability to hit the United States. Our commander of U.S. Forces Korea said as much last year. Just a couple weeks ago, the commander of the Strategic Command said the only thing he doubted North Korea had the capability to do right now was the actual miniaturization. So they are very close. And this long period, it's not just Obama's 8 years, it's 25 years of a misguided notion that we could talk North Korea out of its nuclear weapons. The chickens are coming home to roost, and the threat to the United States is real, and it's, as these things go, imminent.
Ambassador, the White House has recently said that they are confident that China is making progress in aiding them and putting pressure on North Korea. They're confident that they're going to come along. How do you see China's role in all of this at this point?
Well, I'm not confident, I have to say. I've watched China over a long period of time do a two-step on this, saying, yes, we don't want North Korea to have nuclear weapons, but not exerting the pressure that they uniquely can bring to bear against North Korea. So they're going through the motions right now. I think maybe they're convinced that President Trump has been very clear to Xi Jinping that either they solve the problem or we will solve it, and if there were military action on the Korean Peninsula, have direct ramifications for China. But based on 25 years of performance to date, I think I'll keep my powder dry for a while on judging Chinese performance.
Yeah. Ambassador, I have a question for you. I know militarily there's a saying that says if you can't be respected, then at least be feared. So we're in the situation where we have a new president, and we know, I was talking to Texas Senator Brian Birdwell the other day. We were talking about the Iran hostage situation and how Carter was thinking about it much like Obama did, right? He was thinking about, how do I get these hostages released, but he didn't do anything. And then the day Reagan comes into office, after 444 days of those prisoners being held, they release them, because they know Reagan is willing to do something that Carter wasn't. And so sometimes I think that North Korea is saying President Trump is willing to do something that Obama wasn't. And so I feel like this is a little bit of posturing and putting their toe in the water to see what he's willing to do more than it is an actual threat. But I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I don't think we're going to see hostilities because of the live fire exercise or anything like that. I think it's the real risk to us of the deliverable nuclear weapons capability. But I tell you, as has been remarked, there's nothing better than the scenario of Chinese President Xi Jinping having dinner with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago when the president drops over coffee and dessert that he's just launched 5 dozen Tomahawk missiles at Syria. Let Xi Jinping absorb that for a while.
Right.
And he told them, at least I've heard at that dinner, the point that either China solved the North Korean nuclear problem or we would. So I think the lesson has been learned. I just have my doubts about China's assessment of the situation and whether they really are going to do anything. I've long believed the only real solution here is a new alignment on the peninsula, merging the two countries as was originally intended after World War II, because until you get rid of this regime entirely, the erratic, dangerous nature of the regime poses a threat to us and all our friends in the region.
Right. And what's in it for North Korea if they were to throw a nuke our way? That's what I'm baffled by, too.
Well, I think this regime has a Hitler in the bunker mentality. I don't think it's rational in our terms. But I also think it's why, for the past 25 years, we've failed to get the North to give up the weapon. Because when we say to North Korea, give up your nuclear weapons, what they hear is give up your regime.
Right.
They see the two as synonymous. That's why it's only with China's direct involvement, which over the years they've tried to say to the United States, look, you have a problem with North Korea. Wrong. China's got the problem with North Korea. We all do, and we've got to solve it together, or we won't solve it except by military force, which, as Lindsay said, is the last resort.